Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name's Gary Mancini. In today's episode we're going to be taking a look at some of the rare and unusual collectibles from the world of horror movies. We'll begin today's episode with a look at this, an original VHS copy of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, I was given this when I used to work at a video store back in 1987. The guy that gave it to me used to own his own video store, and he was having a clear out because the police were taking all of these films, which were regarded at the time as video nasties, off the shelf. He didn't want to throw this copy away. He knew I was a horror movie fan, and thankfully he gave that movie to me. This is not the original case, but this cover is original. As you see, it's in good nick. We'll have a closer look in a moment. And it's just something I'm very happy to have in my collection. Let's take a closer look. Now, as you can see, the silhouette of what would become known as Leatherface raising his chainsaw in the field. It says down there the movie is uncensored. It doesn't have any certification on it anywhere. It says it happened, although we know that it didn't. Nice contrast of the white against a bit of a bloody field down below. Let's turn it to the spine. Oops. We've got VHS. The name, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, running down the spine. I've seen some of these that are really filthy, really dirty. And that's the number he used to have it on his shelf. It was H22, which I'm assuming must mean Horror 22. We've got the synopsis on the back there. Let you read that for a moment. Again, it says it's based on a true incident, which, yeah, I mean, it was based on Ed Gein, but it wasn't based on a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There was no Leatherface, no Sally Hardesty. Not for sale outside of the UK, and if we have a look down here, it was produced on video at Pinewood Studios. Let's take a look inside. Again, I don't know what the actual case was for this this movie, but this is a video form one, which I know didn't release the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And here is the cassette. As you can see, it's very basic. He's got his number there again, H22. The important please rewind this tape. There's nothing on there that there usually is. And let's have a look at the tape itself, see what condition it's in, if I can get it to stand while I hold the camera. Not too bad. I've not played it in all the years that he's given it to me, but it's not too bad. In 1986, I won a competition in a national newspaper to take 100 of my friends and family to a private screening of A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 at my local Odeon cinema. Not everybody went to the premiere. We didn't get rid of all 100 tickets. In that case, I ended up with this, the last remaining ticket from that preview. As you can see, there's a £1 voucher on the edge there, over here, and you could take that to the kiosk and you could hand it in, and they would give you £1's worth of sweets. And we didn't fill the cinema screen, so what we did is we took all the vouchers off at the end of the night, took to the kiosk and claimed all the sweets. We must have carried home like boxes and boxes worth of sweets, which we had for weeks and weeks on end, like wine gums and various chocolate treats. And yeah, it was nice to have my own private premiere of A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. I know the film wasn't that fantastic, but yeah, really nice. Moving on from that, I actually developed a good relationship with Palace Pictures, and they sent me the poster for Elm Street 2. They sent me a massive 6-foot tall bus shelter poster, which if I can find an image I'll flash it up on screen in a moment, of Freddy standing there with his hands up like this. I think Graham Humphreys was the artist, and he's also the artist of this next item which I'm going to show you. We're going to take a closer look at this in a moment, but for now, this is the very rare, whoops, moving myself around there, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4 James Bond Freddy poster. Now, I'll have to let that bit roll, so it says the name's Kruger. So let's take a closer look. Again, this poster is by Graham Humphreys. It says the name's Kruger. We go a little further down, Freddy Krueger, and it's mimicking the obvious James Bond gun barrel sequence. Now that is the reason why the poster got withdrawn. I think it lasted about a week from my understand. It went out to various locations and was put on display, and Eon Productions, who are the actual producers of the Bond movies, took a look at it and said, well, hang on a minute, you can't do this, this is infringing on our copyright, and they withdrew the poster. So therefore these posters are actually very, very rare. Have a look down the bottom here, excuse my little gremlin, give me some hand. From May 5th at Warner West End, Odeon Marble Arch, and all over London. So I actually think it's a really lovely poster. I do need to get it framed up. It's got a little bit battered where I've had it stuck in a cupboard for years. So we've got a little bit of damage down the edges here, and yeah, I think it was said it was within a week that the poster went out and was withdrawn and replaced with some various other posters which were still pretty good. I think Graham did a couple of those, did the Elm Street 4 poster with the stained glass window and everything. But this one is really quite rare, and it is my intention to get it nicely framed and up on display as soon as I can. Now you may not think that this next item is particularly rare, but it is increasingly hard to find, and it is fetching a very high price on eBay, and that is the novelisation of John Carpenter's 1978 movie Halloween. Let's take a closer look. So, as I said previously, this book is kind of rare. It was published in 1979, about a year after the movie was released. Take a look at the spine. It's by Bantam Books. This is the US edition. I did have a UK edition, and I will tell you about that in a moment. But the cover is exactly the same. Novel by Curtis Richards, again. I've always loved this image on the back with a pumpkin head in the sheet. And in some issues, this is actually the front cover. We didn't have the famous movie poster with the dagger and the pumpkin. This is a really good book to pick up if you do love Halloween, because it gives you a little bit of background, which, although Rob Zombie covered a kind of a background in his movies, I actually think this one's better. It tells the story back in, I think it's Celtic Ireland, with a young man who's disfigured and he's chasing after a young girl that he fancies. And eventually he catches up with her, and the village people grab him and tear him to pieces and send his spirit off into the ether, and that's supposed to be the spirit that embodies Michael Myers. You also get a look at Michael when he's in his younger days, and the things he got up to when he was in the hospital. It's only brief, but it's really interesting, gives a lot more depth to the character, and in a way I would wish that they would actually make a movie of this book, because it'd be really good. It's really interesting. The condition of this is actually really good. Not too much. I know there's a yellow, that's intentional, that yellow down the spine. But yeah, the pages are really good. It's in really good nick. As I said, I had one previously, and I used to take it everywhere with me. I took it on holiday, and my girlfriend's mother put it into her bag, and then she spilled some perfume all over it, which rotted the cover, rotted everything down here, and that was devastating. So I had to go and find another one, And luckily I found this one before the prices started skyrocketing, and I've kept it in really good condition. And now the highlight of this video, something very rare indeed. The 1978 Halloween press pack. Let's take a closer look. So the first thing we notice is some black and white stills. These would have been used at the front of the house of the cinema to advertise the movie. The cinema staff could have chosen any one of these images to put outside to best advertise the movie. Just have a quick flick through these. As you can see, it was released by Miracle Films in the UK, and it was an X certificate. This is a lovely one of the great Donald Pleasance, Dr. Loomis. This is a lovely image as well, with Annie and Michael lurking in the background. So press packs were given to cinemas to help them to promote the movie, especially if it was a new movie that people didn't really know much about. This little piece on the inside here tells the cinema managers to scream about Halloween and how to promote the movie. There's a little bit of information about John Carpenter and how he's become a bit of a cult figure after a few movies. It's very nice. I'd like to get my hands on those. I don't have any of those. Maybe that's something I need to look into. This is a Marla Haley setup, where you'd have the main poster in the bottom of the picture, plus another poster at the top, and then you've got these crowds either side here. Little tiny adverts that appear in newspapers in the tiny columns. Again featuring that same image of the Michael Myers type character. I still don't think it looks like him. A word puzzle to put in the Odeon cinema or local paper. Could win a toaster with this one. Another piece here about how to advertise the movie on the radio. They've really thought of everything. I mean, you don't get these kind of packs anymore. Look at this one, this is amazing. Halloween advertised on the top of a car. I can honestly say I've never seen any cars driving around with any advertisement for movies, especially horror movies. Not in my time anyway. Spreading word of mouth. And then you've got a pass list featured here. And a little synopsis. Now if you're sitting there thinking, hang on a minute, I've seen some of those images before. Well, that may well be the case. I loaned the press pack to the producers of this documentary, Halloween, 25 Years of Terror. I even got a special thanks on the end credit. And if you look on the fourth disc, I even feature it in the fan section. I'd like to thank John Carpenter, Deborah Hill, Mustafa Akkad and all of the Halloween team for the many years of enjoyment this film has given me and for influencing my career as a filmmaker. Moving swiftly on. I actually took this press pack with me when I went to see John Carpenter play live in concert. Here's the VIP badge. We got to meet him beforehand. John took a look at the press pack and said that he'd never seen it before in his life, and he was absolutely fascinated by it. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's look at these horror movie rarities. If you have, please give me a like, a subscribe, and we'll be back with more soon. Take care.